Okay, is it fine?
Yeah,
Yeah. So yesterday we had done the course content we are already completed. Okay, fundamental we already completed. Lab setup I already shared the link to download the applications. You can download and ping me. I will help you to set up the lab.
yeah.
Basic with GUI and CLI. We yesterday we just uh, given the overview for that Fortigate dashboard. Today we will start from here. Okay, the basic with GUI and CLI, static default routing, and zone implementation and RIP. These four topics we will cover today. Okay,
Okay.
so here is the lab. So I'm having. I believe that you know about the basic of routing, right? RIP, static
Yeah,
routing, static default routing, right?
yeah.
Okay. So loopback one, loopback two here. Okay, loopback one in everywhere. Loopback one we are having. Okay, and here also I'm having a loopback one. Here also I'm having a loopback one for the testing purpose. I believe you are aware about the loopback also. Okay, loopback we creating for the testing purpose. So this branch, this is in our inside network. This is our one. This is also a DMZ, but this is our DMZ network. Okay, and this is also a DMZ. This is an outside network. So just consider just a minute. So ignore this one. Consider this is in our internet. Okay, this is our internet, and loop back here we'll create one dot one dot one IP. Okay, 1.1.1.1.1. Okay, so that's it for here. Okay, so I'm just giving and save. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so just a minute. It is taking a time. Custom save. Okay, this is our inside network. Okay, and this is our internet. Clear? So let me start the configuration. So I took a console of R1, R2, R3, and R4. Okay. So here is our is join in multiple Krishna. Okay. So this is our Krishna. Are you there?
Yeah, it's me. Actually,
Okay,
my
okay.
phone is stuck. That's the
This is
reason.
inside DMZ and DMZ2. Okay. This is a completely our inside network, and this is our internet. Okay. So here I took a console for R1 enable configuration terminal interface fast Ethernet 0 by 0 IP address 192.168.1.1.255.255.255.0 and no shutdown exit interface where's Joe guy Krishna everything is fine.
Yes, Mukesh.
Yeah, so R1 is
Good.
done. Okay, R1, and we need to interface loopback 1 IP address 172.168.1.1 255.255.255.0. Okay, 255.255.0 exit, and default route I need to configure IP route 0.0.0.0 and 0.0.0.0 192.168.1.1. I'm asking my firewall, my router, if any unknown destination will come, you can blindly send to this 1.1. Okay. You know about this all these things, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so 190, 192, 168, 1.1. Here one dot I need to keep as a one dot. Just a minute. Do so IP interface brief. So here 1.1 is already there. Configuration terminal interface. Interface fastener 0 by 0 IP address. I need to change this 192.168.1.2 255.255.255.0 and not required. Okay. Exit IP route 0.0.0.0.0 and 0.0.0.0 192.168.1.1. Okay. Done. So IP interface brief. So 1.2 and 172. Okay. And R2 enable configuration terminal interface fast Ethernet 0 by 0 IP address 192.168.168.2.2 255.255.255.0 and no shutdown. Okay. Exit IP route. We have one more interface loopback 1 IP address 172.168.2.2.1 255.255.255.0. Okay. Exit IP route 0.0.0.0 and 0.0.0.0. I'm telling my routers as when when you are having a known destination which is not in your routing table. Let's suppose we have a one user inside of this router. And the router is trying to access the Facebook, and the Facebook IP is not available into this where into the router routing table, right? So in this kind of scenario, the router will send the packet to firewall, and firewall will send the packet to internet. Okay, clear? Krishna is there.
Yeah.
2.1.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, then R2 and enable configuration terminal interface. Just a minute, Krishna. So where we are R2, right? Now we have
Yeah.
to configure the R3. In R3, how many network we are having?
I'm unable to
Just a minute.
sure.
Is it visible now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so now interface fastener 0 by 0 IP address 192.168.3.2 and now shutdown. Exit IP route 0.0.0.0 0.0.0.0 192.168 dot uh,
One dot
3.1. It will send to the
one.
3.1. Okay.
Okay.
But by the way, this is internet, so we don't require to do the default routing here. Okay.
Okay.
Just a minute. Hussein. Yeah, if you are fine, you can join now. Okay, I'm already in class. Okay. Okay, so in this one R4.
Can you start the recording? It is in past mode, I think.
Hmm. Yeah, I started the recording.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Enable configuration terminal interface fast Ethernet 0 by 0 IP address 192.168.4.2
Dot two.
255.255.255.0 and no shutdown. IP route 0.0.0.0 and 0.0.0.0. Okay, 192.168.4.1.
Dot
Okay,
two.
in so IP interface brief. Correct. So IP route. Okay, so everything is done. Now come to the firewall. Firewall by default ID is a admin, double enter admin. Okay, so system interface. So question mark. So our IP is a 159.136. Okay, so here we will
Okay.
take 192.168 136, right? So 136 admin don't save later. Okay, and then we got the GY access. Okay, Why we got the GUI access? This port one is by default, the port one is connected with the our net. Okay, so this port is always in DSCP mode, so always it is getting the dynamic IP. Okay, so by using this IP we can get then, by using that IP we can get the firewall GUI mode. Okay,
Okay.
so network and interface. So how many interface we have in interface? Port number 2, port number 3, and port number 4. Okay,
Go.
1.1, 2.1, and 3.1 and the 4.1. Okay, so
Okay.
port number 2, I'm giving the name inside 192.168.1.2/24. Okay, I'm allowing the service into this interface ping. Okay, we have a port number 3. This is our DMZ1. So 192.168.2.1/24. Okay, allowing the ping services. And port number 4, our internet. Okay, internet. And here we are allowing internet 192.168.3.1/24. Okay, 192.168.3.1/24. Here 3.1 and port number 4. Okay, and ping allowed. Port number 5, this is our DMZ2. So 192.168.4.1/24. Okay, ping allowed. Done. Now all has been configuration, that basic configuration is done. Okay, so let me take the CLI mode. Okay, so the command is get router info routing table all, to check the routing table. Okay, so how many network is there? 192.168.1 is there, 2.2 is there, 3 dot is there, 3 is there, 4 is there. Okay, I just need to, whenever you are going to do the practice, you just need to use this port number 1. Port number one is a by default is in DSCP. Okay, this port number 1 is by default in DSCP. So whenever you're doing to testing, you just need to always keep it in a, once you log in, keep it as a manual. Okay, now I'm having so generally we are using a ping command to ping, right? But here we need to use execute ping. Okay, so 192.168 dot where 1.1.2. So I'm able to reach the 1.2. 1.2 means this router. Then we'll use 2.2 and 3.2 and 4.2. Okay, 1.2. Let me try 172.168.1.1. This is our 172.168.1.1. Right? Let me try to ping. I'm unable to ping, right? Because I'll show you why. Okay, and 192.168. Let me ping from 192.168.2.2. I'm able to reach 3.2, able to reach 4.2, able to reach ping internet, execute ping 1.1.1.1 internet not reachable, right? Because this there is no I know IP address of 1.1.1 inside the router, so we need to configure in ISP R3 interface loopback 1 IP address 1.1.1.1 255.255.255.0. Okay, now you can ping from the firewall. Okay, it will reach because of there is no packet is coming here. I'll show you debug IP ICMP. Okay, packet is on. Now you can hit from here again. Now you can check here debug IP ICMP. So IP interface brief. So 1.1 is available here. Okay, but here there is no default routing, so we can do configuration terminal IP route. We can do a default routing 0.0.0.0 and 0.0.0.0 192.168.3.1. Okay, then so now if you ping at least our okay. Now there is no, by default there is no policy. Okay, by default there is a no policy. And remember one thing, in CLI mode, the Fortigate is always support a small letter only, not capital letter. Okay, so whenever you are using the CLI mode, you can use our what, CLI only. Okay, so there is no default route first of all in interface, but we need to configure static route here. Okay, static route, now static default route. Okay, so here we need to go static route, create new. Whenever you wanted to go anywhere, which I don't know, which is not available into the routing table of the firewall. So I'm just giving the command 192.168.3.3.2, right? Port
Yes.
number 4. When you don't know the destination, you can use port number 4, and the next hop will be a 3.2. Use port number 4 and the next hop is a 3.2. Okay, select OK. Now you can hit 1.1, execute ping 1.1.1.1. So now our firewall is reachable, right? So now you can hit here also we can get the response, right? We're getting some in the router. Okay, so here there is no let me, here we are able to reach now, right? Firewall, correct? So
Yes.
now I'll check whether I'm able to reach or not from the R1. I'm telling my R1 ping 192.168.2.1. 2.1 means this interface we cannot reach here. Okay, 2.1 we cannot reach here. If I ask my router to ping 3.1, it cannot reach. Okay, 4.1 not reachable, right? Ping 1.1.1.1 no reachability, right? Because by
Yes.
default policy is go to the firewall policy. Okay, firewall policy, this is a firewall policy. If you check there is an by default implicitly deny. So all the source, whenever source is any from anywhere, okay, anytime, any services, action is deny. So that's the reason we are not able to, what, we are not able to reach. How you can verify? Debug debug diagnose, debug, enable, diagnose, debug, uh, enable, and trace flow. Diagnose, debug, enable, just a minute, diagnose, debug, flow, trace, diagnose, debug. What is the command? Diagnose, debug, enable, reset, duration report, diagnose, debug, flow, and then flow and flow filter, flow filter. Which one? 192.168 source address I need to define. Okay, filters, source address 172.16 dot, I'll tell you 172.16 dot, or I'll do one thing, 192.168.1.1. Okay, enable this and now hit from this R1 because source is our, I'm telling my firewall just trace this packet 192.168.1.1. Okay, so I'm trying to hit 4.1. Okay, it is hitting to the firewall. Okay, but it is not showing now. Just a minute. Here we need to use 192.168 dot 1.1.1, right? 1.1 is our own, so 1.2 it should be 1.2, right? Now you can hit. I'm hitting the 4.1, right? So that is the reason. Just a minute. 2.1 hitting, diagnose, debug, enable, diagnose, debug, flow trace start. Okay, diagnose workflow start trace, diagnose debug, enable. Okay, so by default, this is an CLI mode. If you check in the GUI, this is by default implicitly denied. So that is the reason it is not able to send or receive the packet. For that, we require to create one policy. Okay, in the policy, we will let them know. Okay, we will let them know that that policy, like any we can allow policy we need to create. Okay, in the firewall policy, create new. Okay, so here this time R1 to R2, from R1 to R2 they can reach, and this is just a name. Okay, incoming interface from R1. Incoming interface matlab R1, from packet will restart from the R1, right, and reach to the port number 2, and it will send to port number 3 because R2, right, correct.
Yeah.
R1 means our port number 2, and outgoing means port number 3. This is our port number 2, and this is our port number 3. Packet will come from the port number 2, and packet will go to port number 3. Okay. Source will be a all. Any can come from the interface in port number 2. Okay. Destination anywhere. Okay. Services all except flow based net. Okay, done. Okay, now you can hit from here R1 to R2 2.1. Is it possible? No, right, because there is no static routing has been configured now, correct. If you create a policy also, it should be the static routing must be available here, right. So for that we need to go the network and the static route. And static route we need to create, let's suppose whenever you wanted to go, I'm telling them a router, whenever you wanted to go 172.16.0.1.0/24, you can use a gateway as a 192.168.1.2. Okay, what I'm telling you, my router, whenever you're going to use 192.168.1.1.0/24, can use a gateway as a 192.168.1.2. Just a minute, huh? This is interface DNS static route. Under this static route we will let them know when you're going to do 192.168.1.1 by using a /24. You can use a gateway as a 192.168.1.2, and by using a port number 2, right. Gateway is same as the interface, port number 1 as a 1. Okay, so 192.168.1.1 will be our 1.1, 192.168.1.1 by using a port number 2, correct.
Yeah.
Done. Just a minute. 170 192.168.1.1.2, 1.1. Let me check the routing table of this firewall first. What are the IP we assigned? So system interface, enter port number 1. This is the by default IP DSCP. Okay, port number 2, 1.2 is our interface. This is 1.2. It should be a 1.1, right. So it is a 1. Just a minute. What is in our router? Enable so IP interface brief. 1.2 is in router, right, and what is in our firewall? In firewall also the same IP. So better we can change this. Okay, configuration terminal. Okay, we can change from this firewall. So go to the interface and the port number. Instead of 1.2 we can keep as a 1.1. Okay, 1.1. Okay, so now if you hit let me check there was an IP issue ping 192.168.2.1. They are able to reach, right, because there was an IP issue. Just a minute, huh? here and here in the CLI mode. Now we are able to let me delete this policy first, then I'll show you something. Okay, let me delete the policy. Now we're able to get the our logs firewall policy. Delete. Okay, now you can hit from. Now you can hit start 1.2. They're not able to get that, right? So again we need to create the policy. So overall what I wanted to say, tell you, the static route we need to configure first. Okay, then now what we have done as of now, we configure the basic, IP into the interface 1.1, 2.1, 3.1, and the 4.1. Okay, and we created a default routing for our this firewall, that if firewall, if you wanted to go a known destination, if you are having no any request which you don't know about the destination, you can blindly send to internet. Okay, so we created what, we created one, any subnet, any network if coming, if you don't know about that, you can blindly send to the 3.2, which is the port number 4. Okay, now we wanted to allow a communication between from R1 to R2. So let me check. Ping 192.168.1.2, 2.1, right? 2.1. So are you able to take that? 2.1? No, no reachability, right? No reachability. Correct. So for that, we require by default there is a policy, is a by default disable policy. Okay, policy in object, firewall policy, firewall policy. So we need to enable this. Okay, R1 to R2. Packet will come from the port number 2. Packet will go via port number 3, and it will source will be a 192.160 all, or you can define the this one also, a particular IP address that we will configure in the coming days. Okay, so then here, okay, now you can ping. Now our reachability is there, right? Correct. Now we are able to get some logs also.
Yes.
Yes, correct.
Correct. Now if
Yes.
you if you if you let me delete this policy and hit again once. Okay, hit again once. Who is that guy? Just a minute. Sorry. Yeah. So now again hit from here. No locks is there. Okay. So again hit from. Just a minute. Ping. No locks, right? But when you are having some policy, it is generating a logs, right? R1 to
Yes, yes.
R2. So packet will come from the R2, and packet will go via port number 3. Source will be all. Destination will be all, and done. Okay. Now if you hit, the packet will come. Just a minute. Okay. So any day I'll show you how to capture the logs for the source and this destination. Today we are just going to enable that port one is able to means overall this router one is able to access this R2, right? Correct.
Yes,
from
correct, sir.
from R1. Krishna, are you there?
Yeah, Manish.
Yeah, are you getting point?
Yeah.
Now you can ping the 2.2. We are able to reach the 2.2 also, but can we ping from R2 to R1? Ping 192.168.1.1. We cannot ping, right? Because there is no reverse policy. We give an order to our router, our firewall, that packet will come from inside. Packet will go via port number 3. Source can be
Only
anything,
one
destination can be.
minute.
Right? We need to configure one reverse policy. Okay. So for that we need to create one more policy. uh, R2 to R1.
Um,
Packet will come from the port number 2. Packet will go via port number. The packet will come from the port number 3.
3 to 2.
3 to 2. Okay. Source will be all. Destination will be all. Services is all. Okay. Now if you hit, now you can hit the 1.1. We are able to reach, right? From R2 to R1 we are able to reach. But when we ping 190.172.16.1.1, are you able to reach? No, right? Because there is no static routing. Because the firewall don't know about this 172.161.1, correct? The
Yeah.
packet is coming to the firewall, but firewall don't know about the 172.161.1. It is throwing into a 3.2. Okay. But again hit from here. It is hitting, it is throwing the packet to internet, right? Able to see?
Yes, sir.
So I give an order to my router 2. Router 2 you can ping to the 172.161.1. Router 2 send the packet to the firewall. Firewall is having a default routing that if you don't know the destination, you can throw the packet to the 3.2 by using a port number 4. So port number 4 means our ISP. This is our ISP. So ISP, when you started the diagnose debug enable 192.168.3.1, it is replying now. Okay, just a minute. Again, I am hitting from R2. So it will send the packet. What is the IP? 3.1, right? So these are about this 46 IP is about this DNS. This is DNS IP 9645. Okay, that you are able to see here 9446. Okay, done. So we require to configure a default routing. Okay, so now Krishna, what is the meaning of sharing these things? Okay, just a minute, I'll show you firewall policy. If I if I wanted to establish the communication from R1 to R2, again one policy required. R1 to R3, one policy required. R1 to R4, one policy required, right? Correct.
Yes.
So three policy I
Yeah.
need to configure. Again R2 to R1, one policy. To one policy,
Indoors.
one policy means six policy. Means total
Yeah.
12 policy I need to create, right? So instead of creating a 12 policy, I can create a single policy by using. Let's suppose I'm using now create new, and I'm having one choose. I'm getting option to choose a single port right here.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to create a multiple policy, you can create here. Okay, but you can call a multiple interface. So go to the setting and system and the feature visibility, and here you'll get an option multi-port multiple interface policy. Okay, and apply. Now you can go to the firewall policy, and firewall policy you can create. You can create now.
Create new policy.
Instead of I'm just deleting this. Okay, create new policy. Now we are getting a plus option, right?
Yeah.
All to all. I'm giving one command. Port number 2, port number 3, port number 4, port number 5. Now I'm able to call all the interface, right?
How many ports you can give the maximum number?
All whatever the port you are having. You can call all the ports. There is no limit.
Okay.
Source will be all, destination will be all, schedule always, services all, and okay, right? So
Yes.
now if you ping from R1 to R2, R2 to R3, everything we can reach. Okay.
Okay.
Also you hit now 2.2, we are able to reach 3.2, we are able to reach 4.2, we are able to reach. I can use from R4 ping 192.168 dot 2.1.2, 1.2, able to reach 2.2, able to reach 3.2, able to reach 4.2, able to reach, but still I'm unable to reach 1.1.1.1. Okay. Okay, now I'm able to reach because default routing I have. Okay, default routing I've already configured. But if I ask to ping 172.16.1.1, I cannot reach, which is inside of R1, right? I cannot reach here, correct? For that, I need to create a static routing. So for that static routing, we need to go network, and we need to configure static route. In static route, create new, and here where 172.16.1.0/24 by using what 192.168.1.1, sorry, 1.2, 1.2. Okay, by using what I'm telling to my firewall, if you wanted to, the packet is coming, from R4 the packet is coming for 172.161.1. Okay, but firewall don't have also the routing table, diagnose, so system interface, not so system interface, get router, this is a get router info routing table all, get router info routing table all. Okay, so we are having 192.168 1 2 3 and 4 only, but we don't have 172.161.2 3 4, right? We don't have, correct? For that we require
Yes.
to do this 172.161.0. Okay, if you wanted to reach 172.168.1.1.16.2.0/24, you can use 172.168.2.1.
Oh,
Okay, or 2.2, sorry, 2.2, the 2.2 will be there. 192.168, 192.168.2.2. Okay, by port number 3. Okay, when you wanted to reach 172.16.3.0/24, you can use the port, the gateway will be a 192.168.3.2, right? So internet 4,
yes.
use, I'm telling my firewall, if you want to reach 4.0, 3.0, this is a 3.0, right? If you wanted to reach the 3.0, which is not available actually, this is just consider this is 3.0. If you want to reach the 3.0, you can use a port number 4 with the gateway 3.2. Okay, but this is our internet, we don't need to do, but just consider we are having a 3.0 local area network also inside. Okay. Okay, now if you wanted to go 172.16.4.0/24, use 170.192.168.4.2. Okay, port number, using a port number 5. Clear? Now
Yeah.
you can hit from R1 or R4. We are able to reach, right? From R4 I am able to reach the 172.161.1, correct?
Yes.
The gate router info routing table all. So now, earlier I had just 192.168.1.2.3.4, right? Now what are the things I am having? 172.161.2.3.4, all these things is available in the routing table, right?
Yeah.
So that is the reason from anywhere they can reach. Okay, R4 can reach, R2 can reach, everything can reach. Okay, clear? Now if i
Yeah.
if i ask to ping as a source, ping, okay, 1.1.1.1 by being a source, loopback 1. Okay, I am telling my loopback 1 to ping the internet. Now loopback 1 is also able to reach the internet, correct?
Yeah.
I'm telling my ping though R2 ping 1.1.1.1 by using a loopback 1, so become a source, and loopback 1 will become a source, and they can ping the internet, so they are also able to reach, right?
Yes.
So this is the way how you're going to configure the static routing in the basic configuration. Okay. Also, we can, this is just a so what we have done now, basic with CLI done, right?
Yes.
And static IPv4 for static routing, static and default routing done, correct?
Yes.
Now we're going to do the zone implementation. By default, this Fortigate is not a zone based firewall. Okay. By default, this is not a zone based. Why? When you configure a policy, when we are configuring the policy, firewall policy, this is asking to call a interface, right? In the policy, we are calling interface, right?
Yeah.
But when we talk about the Palo Alto or any other firewall, that time we cannot call there is no option to call the interface. There is no option to call a, any particular zone. So by default, there is an interface. Every interface we need to call into a particular zone. Okay. So if you wanted to use this as a zone, you need to go in the network interface and create new and zone. Okay, and call the zone. Give the zone name inside. Call the port number. Member of, there is no. It is not showing the port number 234, right? 2345. It is not showing, right?
Yes.
Because the port should be a या तो or that port can be individual or port can be a part of any single zone. Okay, so we're already these ports are already in used, that is the reason that is not showing there. Okay, these ports already in use, right?
Yes.
So that is the reason that is not showing there. So for that I need to delete this policy, delete, and again I need to go to the network interface, create new and zone. Okay, in zone I need to create inside. Okay, inside, and now inside, and I need to configure a port number 2, right? Port number 2 will become a part of inside zone. Okay, remember the port can be a part of a single zone. Okay, port cannot be a
Okay.
part of multiple zone. Got it?
Yeah. Okay.
Zone DMZ1, DMZ1. Okay, DMZ1, when you're talking about the DMZ1, it will be a part of this is a port number 3, correct? Done.
Yeah.
Now zone, it will become internet. Internet is a part of our port number 4. Port number 4 is will be the part of our interface. Zone DMZ2. Okay, which port? Port number 5, correct? Okay, so now if you wanted to check the zone, you can get it here, DMZ1. Okay, zone, and port number 1 is a part of DMZ1, port number 2 is a part number DMZ2. Okay, individually you can find it here the ports, but if you wanted to check based on zone, so you can find it here. Okay, now we can create a policy, firewall policy, create new, and all to all. Earlier we called what? Interface is coming there, right?
Yes.
Now we need to select port number 1, port number 2, zone 1, zone 2, every zones, right? Inside zone, internet zone, DMZ zone, DMZ2. Okay, DMZ1, DMZ2, DMZ4, and internet. Correct? All, all, all. Okay. Then now you can ping from R1 to, we are able to ping now as usually, right? As earlier we are able to. Correct?
Yes.
So this is the way how you're going to configure basic in GUI. Okay, as well as CLI as well. Okay. So now I'm going to delete the IP address, whatever the IP address I have assigned earlier. Okay, in the port number 3, port number 4. Okay. So the same thing we will do in the CLI also. Okay, 0.0.0.0 and /0. We'll do because what was there, the same thing we need to keep it as well. Okay, 0.0.0.0 as 0. Port number 2, 0.0.0.0/0. 0.0.0.0/0. Okay, so we will get to know now how to assign an IP address. Okay, then this is done. Now we need to delete this zone as well, interface. We need to delete this zone. We will learn how to, just a minute. Here I forgot to inform you, block intrazone traffic. By default there is an intrazone traffic is blocked. Okay, so when you wanted to establish the communication from one zone to another zone, this should be a in disable. Okay, remember, this option should be a disable. Whenever you are creating a zone based configuration, zone based policy, this should be a for this option should be a disable. Okay,
Okay.
so now there is a no IP address into the interface, correct? So now I'll show you how to configure, how to assign IP address into an interface. Go to the firewall. IP is a admin, password is a admin. Config system interface, edit port number 1, set port number 1, set mode. Okay, static I want to assign. Set IP 192.168.1.1/24. Set allow access means what are the service I want to allow. I just wanted to allow ping service into this particular interface, ping. Next, hit enter, edit port number 2, port number 3, right? Okay, sorry, that will be wrong. Okay, we need to change this. Abort. If you wanted to save it, you can use a end command. If you wanted to uh, if you want to allow this, you don't want to assign any config, if you don't want to save any configuration. Okay, that time you can delete. Okay, just a minute. Port number 1, it should be a port number 2. Abort. To discard the saving, you can need to abort. Okay, now we will do from configuration system interface, edit port number 1, port number 2. Okay, set allow access ping, set mode static, set IP 192.168.1.1/24. Abort. Config system interface, edit port number 2. Okay, port number 2, set mode static, set IP 192.168.1.1/24. Okay, what happened, man? uh abort with the, this is already showing abort. Just a minute, let me refresh this. Just a minute, guys. So what we're trying to do, so system interface question mark. So 192.168, it is showing the port number 1 is a 192.168.1.1, right? So instead of doing this, I'll do configuration, because port number 1 is our static, right? DSCP, right? Config system interface, edit port number 1, set mode, set mode DSCP, right? And set services, set allow access ping. Okay, end to save this. Okay, so port number 1, we given the DSCP as was, it was like earlier. Config system interface, edit port number 2, set mode static, set IP 192.168.1.1/24. Done. Set allow access or ping. Done. Next, edit port number 2 3, right? Set mode static, set IP 192.168.2.1/24, set allow access, the service which you wanted to allow, the ping service. Next interface, edit port number 4, set mode, set mode static, set mode static, set allow access ping. Next edit, next edit, okay, edit a port number 5, right? Set mode, set mode static, set IP 192.168.4.2/24, 4.1/24, right? Not 4.2. Set allow access ping, correct? Now we configured in all the interface, so system interface question mark. So based on our interface, port number 1 is a DSCP interface, okay? This port number 1. Port number 2, what is the IP? 1.1 with the 255. Port number 3, 2.1. Port number 4, we need to configure port number 4, okay? Port number 4 is missing. Port number 5 is a port 4.1, right? So if you wanted to check config show a system interface and hit enter, you can get to know port number 1 is this IP address is the 192.168.1.1. The service is allowed in the ping service is allowed. Set type physically, the set alias, the name which you given, that is inside, okay? So this is the way how you can verify also. Now configure system interface, edit port number 4, set mode static, set IP 192.168.3.1/24, okay? And now set allow access a ping end, okay? Now so system interface, so you can get to know 3.1 is also configured, okay? This is the way how you're going to create a policy, okay? Now what is the IP? What is the IP? 136, right? 159.136. So okay, in the port number 1 we need to allow, because I'll show you, so system interface port number 1, okay? So if you check in the port number 1, which services allow? Only ping services allow, right? Why we are not able to get this console? Krishna Hussain? Because HTTP service is not enabled, right? It is clearly
Yeah.
showing only the service, the ping services allowed, right?
Yeah.
So now config system, now we need to allow a HTTP or HTTP service. Config system interface, edit port number 1, set allow access HTTPS HTTP, okay, end. Now you can hit, now we will able to get the console. Clear? Clear everyone?
Yes.
Okay. So remember, the always you need to allow the services into the particular port. If you wanted to access your firewall with the HTTP or HTTPS, you need to use that, okay? You need to enable these services. Clear?
Yes.
Okay, so we got to know how to configure the interface IP address into the interface. Now policy we need to create, right? So we need to delete this policy first, okay? Now network we need to delete this zone, delete these zones. Otherwise we need to create a zone based policy, delete all this, okay? Now we'll get to know how to configure. If you check the policy, there is no policy, right? No policy, correct? Now we will learn how to configure the policy, by using the CLI mode. Okay, so the policy will be a config firewall policy, config firewall policy, config firewall policy, edit the policy number, edit 1. Okay, I'm giving the policy number 1. Okay, new entry 1 added. Now we are in the entry number 1. Okay, set a name. What are the options is there? What are the options is there? First is a name. Okay, able to see here. First option, while creating the policy in GUI mode, first option is a set name, right? Here you can use the capital letter by, if you wanted to modify anything by so that time you can if you wanted to highlight anything. Okay, so here only we have this much of flexibility that we can use a capital letter. Okay, set name, set set source interface, source interface, set source interface, src interface, right? set set source interface. Source interface will be a port number 2, port number 3, port number 4, and port number 5. Correct? Hit enter. Set DST interface. Okay. So port number 2, port number 3, and port number 4, and port number 5. Correct? Set set source address. Source address will be all. Here we can use a capital letter. All. Source address will be all. Address incoming. Source address, set source address, just a minute, source address. Here we will use all. Okay, small letter only it will accept. Destination letter, destination address will be all. Correct. Set schedule, always. Correct. The third option, schedule option. Set services, all. Services, service all. Set service, just a minute. Set service all. Here it will not use the small. Here you need to put the capital letter. Okay, set service all. Now you need to configure a set action will be a accept. Correct. Now if you wanted to allow set inspection mode a flow based. Okay, hit enter. Now if you wanted to allow set enable this netting, set net enable. Okay, so this netting you can enable like this. Now you can save this. So firewall policy. So what is the policy? We given all to all, the name we given the all to all, source interface and destination interface. Action will be accepted. Source address, destination address, schedule and services and name we given, right? Now you can, there is no policy, right? If you cancel, no policy is there. Now it came, right? Just now it came. Correct. Krishna Hussain, are you getting my point or you guys are boring?
Yes, yes. Mahesh, I had a small
Yes,
doubt.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I'm
please,
getting.
you can ask me anytime the question,
Yeah.
but don't be silent.
Sure.
Okay, otherwise I can consider like you guys are getting every point.
Next. Sorry, sir.
While in the CLI mode or GI mode, the working principle is same, right? Whether you can do in any one of this.
We can use both the mode CLI and GUI, but what happening, CLI is always better for the network engineer. Why I'm asking these things? Because of troubleshooting time you need to get the logs, right?
Yeah.
But if you are not aware about that CLI, how
CLI.
could you diagnose that issues, right? At the same time, if you're using a Fortigate firewall and you're taking help from the tech support team. Okay,
Okay.
okay, na.
Yes.
then they will not check your GY. They will everything they will verify based on in CLI mode only.
Okay.
So at that time, you if you are aware about this CLI mode, okay, then you'll get to know about what actually the tech support team is doing. And this is good actually when you know about both the to operate your device in the both the mode. Correct?
Yeah.
I don't have any issue. If you ask me to, teach me in the GY, I will teach you in GY only.
No, no, you can see the
Yeah,
both.
yeah, both is fine,
Both is
Sam.
fine,
Both
right?
is. Yes, yes.
Yes, both are.
Just
Okay.
a test small doubt that the
Yeah,
reason
no,
I'm
no
asking.
problem, no problem. Both is the same thing. Okay. Okay. So here we completed. What are the concept we completed in GUI and CLI? We're done now. Basic static routing we done in the GUI and CLI. Zone implementation we done. Now we will do RIP. Okay. For RIP, it will take maximum 5 minutes. Okay. So that's the reason I'm just going to close this. Okay.
Okay.
RIP. So we have a default routing in R1, right? Enable configuration terminal, do so IP route, hit enter. The 0.0 is showing here, right? Default routing already there, that we need to delete. No IP route 0.0.0.0 and 0.0.0.0 192.168.1.1. Done. Here we need to show IP route. No, there is no default routing, correct? Only 172 and 192.168.1 is there. Now we need to configure RIP. Configuration terminal router RIP version 2. No auto summary. Okay. Network, whatever the network I am having, whether it is 100 networks is connected in this router. Okay. 100 different networks is configured. But that is not a matter when you are using the 0.0.0. Automatically everything will call here. Okay. Hit enter. Routing RIP is done in our R1. R2 also we can do. Enable configuration terminal, no IP route 0.0.0.0 and 0.0.0.0. 192.168 dot, what is the IP? 2.1. Okay. Now we'll do IP route router RIP network 0.0.0.0, no auto summary, and version 2. Okay, then both are the similar. This is not a sequence, this is not dependent on the sequence configuration. Enable configuration terminal, enable configuration terminal, uh, do so IP route. So here is also default routing that we don't require. No ip route no IP route 0.0.0.0 0.0.0.0 192.168 dot 192.168 dot, this is a 3.1, right? So now we will do here, this is the internet, so we cannot, it is just a minute, this is the internet, so we don't require to configure the static routing or the static default routing in this kind. Okay, let me connect it. Okay, now in R4, enable configuration terminal, no IP route 0.0.0.0 192.168 dot 4.1, not 4.1, that is a 4.1. Okay, now we can config router RIP network, this is our version 2, no auto summary, and network 0.0.0.0 means we are calling 172.168 also, 192.168.4 also. Okay, now into firewall, we need to go into here. Okay, policy is there, but what are the routing is there with us, static routing is there. Static routing we need to delete, correct, because we are going to configure RIP. Static routing done. Now we will configure RIP. So what are the network we are having directly connected? 1.1, 2.1, 3.3.1, and 4.1. So 192.168, 192.168.1.0 slash 24. Okay, the gateway will be a 192.168.1.2, port number 2, 192.168.168.2.0 slash 24. The gateway will be a 192.168.2.2. Correct? You know now how to configure RIP. Directly connected network only we need to advertise. Correct? So
Yes, sir. Correct.
these are the directly connected network. Port number 2, port number 3, and port number 4. These are our directly connected network, right? So 192.168.3.2. Then last one, 192.168.4.0 slash 24. 192.168.4.1, not 4.1, this will be 4.2. Okay, so RIP is done. Correct. Mute yourself, Hussein. We're getting noise. Okay, so 4.1 you're getting, we configured. Now if you check the routing table, go to the dashboard. Okay, or status, you can voice, you can hear is a routing, you can use in routing here, add routing. Okay, routing is done. Okay, and I think it is done now. Correct. So you'll get to know the routing also here. How many routing is there? You can explain, you can open here. Okay, so how many routing is there? So just a minute, here we can add routing, so clearly we can it will be visible clearly. So routing. Okay, so directly connected network, it is showing 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and 4.0, but it is not advertised as of now. The 172 is not advertised, 172.1.6 is not advertised, 172 this 4.0 is not advertised. Correct. So now get router info, routing table all. So only 1, 2, 3, 4 directly connected networks are there, right? Correct. Execute ping 192.168.1.2. We are able to reach. Execute ping 172.16.1.1. Are we able to reach? This is not reachable, right? So here we need to check routing is configured here. Okay, the routing table must be extended into this routers as well. So let me check it here. So IP route RIP. So RIP is not configured. Let me do configuration terminal and router RIP. No auto summary. Version 2. Network will be 0.0.0.0. Okay. So IP route RIP. Still there is no communication in between. Okay. So let me ping 192.168.1.2. We are able to reach the 1.2, right? But why it is not showing the static and dynamic? Directly connected network is only showing network RIP. Okay, here we are not configured anything. What we configured is static default routing. Instead of calling in RIP, we configured into a static routing. That is the reason the routing table is not exchanging. Sorry, it is a blunder mistake. 192.168.1.0 slash 24. Correct. One network. Second network 2.0 slash 24. 2.0 slash 24. Third is a 3.0 slash 24. Fourth is a 4.0 slash 24. Correct. Now apply. Now in a 30-second your routing table will exchange. Okay. Now get router info, routing table all. So the routing table has been exchanged, right? 2 is there. Again you can try 172.161 on 2 is there. 3 and 4 should be 3 and 4 should come, right? Only 172.16 and 1 and 2 is distributed. Now let me verify 1 and 2 is done. R3 is there in network. R3 there is no RIP, right? Because it is internet. In so IP route, so IP route RIP. So RIP is 1.2 is configured, right? Configure. So IP interface brief. 4.2 only is available, but there is no configuration terminal interface. Loopback one. IP address I'm keeping 172.168.4.1, 255.255.255.255.0. Okay, done. Now it will exchange the routing table for the 4.0 as well. 4.0 is came now, correct? Guys, are you getting bored?
Yes, sir.
Getting bored? Is it fine now? Speed is fine. Krishna, Hussein?
Yes, sir, it's fine. I
Okay.
am just
Okay.
seeing
Krishna, are you
everything
fine?
is fine.
Yes, Mahesh.
Okay, so now we just need to uh, ping from here from 1.1 to internet. Okay, firewall can reach execute ping 1.1.1.1, right? Firewall can reach, but at the same time if I ask my router 1 to reach the internet, it will not reach ping 1.1.1.1. It cannot reach. Why? Because in router 1 or even R2 cannot reach. R2 cannot reach, R3 cannot reach. Policy is there, okay? Remember, policy is there. This is the all R3 is the only internet, that is the reason it is pinging, but R4 cannot reach. R4 cannot reach, correct? R1, R2, R3, and R4 cannot reach because so IP route RIP. If I show you, is there any default route like here? S star is showing here. S star is showing in firewall, correct? Guys, say yes or no.
Yes.
Here, S star is showing in R1. So IP route RIP. Is any default route is there? No, right? No default route is available into the routers, correct? No default route in R1 and R2, even R4. Even R4 there is no default route, correct? So for that you need to come into the advanced in RIP. Okay, in RIP you need to come to the advanced and you need to redistribute your static default routing. Okay, now okay. Now if you check into your R1, you'll get the static default route. R star is came. R star came na? Guys say yes or no. In R2 also is there.
Yes, sir.
In R4 also is there. Correct. Now if you hit internet from R1, ping 1.1.1.1, R1 can reach the internet. Okay. Policy, let me verify whether the policy is available or not. Policy is there. Default route is also there. 1.1 is also there. Okay. Ping from 1.1.1.1. This should reach, right? Get router info routing table all. So here default routing is there towards our port number. Okay, the default routing is wrong. We are using the port number one as a default route, right? We are using a port number one as a default route. Let me go to the CLI port number one. Here it should be a manual, correct? Instead of DSCP, always keep is a manual, okay? And check the static routing also. Static routing, it is a fine. The static routing configuration is fine, but when you're using your interface as a DSCP, it will always send the packet into DSCP mode, okay? So always remember, whenever you're doing the practice, you need to keep as a manual, okay? So now if you hit from R1 to R2, they can reach, right? R1 is able to reach, correct? Correct or not?
Yes.
So now you can ping. 1.1.1.1 from the source, loopback 1. I'm telling my 172.161.1 to reach the internet. The 172.1.6 is also able to reach the internet. Okay, clear, guys?
Clear, sir.
Okay, so now I'm going to delete the RIP configuration from where? From my this RIP I'm going to clear. Okay, RIP I'm going to delete. Before that, let me let it be done. Okay, static routing. The distribution I'll show you later. So here you can 0.0.0.0.0/0. Okay, apply. So now I deleted the RIP. If you check a routing table, you cannot find. It will delete automatically in 30 seconds. Let me disable the this is static route. Okay, and after that, come to the interface and check the RIP once again. Whether RIP is still not persist. Okay, RIP, refresh it. There is no RIP. Wait for some time and check get router info routing table all. So still the 116.123 and 124 is available, right? It should not be there. Wait a minute, guys. It will take some time to remove. So IP route RIP. Still RIP is persist here. Okay, that we need to remove. So why it is not removing? All is done. All is done. Okay, I'm giving as apply and wait for some time. 172, 4 is there, 2 is there, 1 is removed, 2 will be also removed in some time. If it is not removing also, no problem. We just need to know how to configure RIP into the CLI mode. Okay, clear?
Yes, clear, sir.
So how to enable the how to configure. Krishna, Krishna, are you there?
Ramesh.
So how
Yes,
to
yes.
how to configure this RIP? Let me verify once again router info routing table. It should delete 124 is already there, but it should be deleted. Okay.
Yes.
Anyway, if it is not deleting, sometime this is the bug of this application. So we just need to configure. We are just going to configure what a static route. This one RIP into the CLI mode. So for that command is a configure router RIP. Okay, and you need to, if you wanted to show, if you don't know how to do, okay, just use the show command. So what is the option? Config network. Okay, and edit one, and you need to config redistribution is also there, that we can do later. Okay, config RIP is there. Mute yourself, Hussein, mute yourself, voice is coming. Okay, so now config router RIP, edit, just a minute, config router RIP, edit, set, why it is not coming, great, config network, edit one. Okay, edit one, the set prefix, what is the IP? 192.168.1.0/24. Okay, and next, edit 2, edit 2, still it is not, just a minute, guys, RIP and the network, Let me start from the beginning. Config router RIP and the config network edit one and the set prefix 192.168.1.0/24. Next, edit to edit to a set prefix, okay, 192.168 dot 2.0/24. Next, edit edit 3 set prefix 192.168.3.0/24. After that, we need to use the command next edit 4 entry, uh, prefix set prefix is nothing but is your network, okay, 4.0 okay. And to save it in, this is the command how you're going to use to configure the RIP. Okay, now if you check, you can refresh it. There is nothing in RIP. There was nothing. Now it came, right. 1.2, 2.3, 3.4, and 4.0, right. But still, this is not enabled. Correct. The static routing is not enabled. Correct now. So for that, we need to use a command. That command will be, just a minute, config router RIP and in config network network. And if you hit a enter, okay. So what are the things we have? This is the show command, okay. So router RIP that you can do if you are in the networking RIP already. Then you can use the show command. From here you can use 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and 4.0 is available, okay. View question, okay. And so question mark full configuration, also you can get the same thing, okay. Now what I'm trying to do, set network in, here you can use uh, so here there is some attributes. So the redistribution, okay, config redistribute, that we enable now. This redistribution, okay, this is a redistribution. The static redistribution we need to enable, correct. So config redistribution static, correct. Hit enter. In, now if you check in, now if you check, this will be enable, okay. RIP, click once again, go to the advanced, just a minute, config router RIP, config router RIP, and so here config redistribute, it should be there, right. Config router redistribute, question mark, OSP static, and config redistribute static, it should be, but config router redistribute connected. Let me do a connected and in. Okay, I need to check the command if it is working or not. We'll just need to check once. Okay, 1.2. Okay, if it is not working, I'll show you any other days, okay, how to enable this. So by clicking, I'm just going to enable this. Now this RIP is configured, and you can ping, you can get to know ping 1.1.1.1. The now R1 is able to access the internet, R2 can access the internet, R4 can access the internet, and RIP share is also enable ping 1.1.1.1, correct. So this is the way how you're going to configure RIP also. RIP also we are done in the CLI and GUI. Tomorrow we will do a OSPF. Okay, this is also making it done. Okay, Krishna.
Yeah,
Tomorrow
Manish.
we will configure the OSPF, and after tomorrow we will go with the net. Okay. Okay, guys. So
Yeah, okay.
I'll we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for your time. Krishna, you just download all the files and prepare that lab. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Any question you can ask.